One, two, three. Back on the mic again, ready to rock.
Oh, he's about to spit.
I was like, dang, did I miss something? I ain't seen here for a minute.
Barber Card Success brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy, JC, Crown Cuts Academy, Bristol, Virginia, and now Proficient Nail Academy, downtown Johnson City. Spreading love is the Tri-City way, but you know what they say? Spreading love is the only way to Crown Cuts way. We back at it. Three live crew.
Three live crew.
Back in the session.
Back to the full roster.
3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, let y'all boys introduce yourself. Three the hard way.
I'm just a guest now. Go ahead, host.
Jordan Barr from Bristol, Tennessee. J Bob on Instagram. Studio 423. Now official. 100% official.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
The
what I'm
blue
talking
check.
about.
Got the paperwork. He been had the blue check.
Ben had the blue check.
Am I your barber? Marion, Virginia. Am I's barbershop. I'm happy to be back. Been a lot of stuff going on, so just to be back is a blessing for sure.
That's what's up. And then introduce yourself, guest. You know what I mean? You're the special guest with the most. Trying to get you on for the longest, man. But hey, I'm honored to have you. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Carmina. See Mina B on Instagram. Also, Mina B Chopping. And maybe I'll be having you guys on my podcast soon.
Oh, yeah.
Word.
Yes, that's what's up. We'll do that. Definitely. It's always reciprocation over here. Today,
That's
we're
right.
going to drop a serious episode and just try to show love to the women in this industry. I don't think the women get enough love. I mean, most people think it's a man-dominated field, but I love seeing women come into this industry because it just adds to our diversity of our industry and how big this thing is going, how big it's getting. It's
Yep.
important to have you guys, and it's important for us to support you guys because that just shows that it's just it's one love.
That's
You know,
right.
it's one love. So I like talking about, because I went to a school to do a function a couple of weeks ago, and it was 7th and 8th graders. And it was unbelievable how many little girls wanted to be barbers, and that just made my heart smile. And I was sitting there talking to about like 400 little kids, and all these little girls raised their hands in the 7th and 8th grade, said they want to be barbers. And I was just like, that is amazing. That's love right there, because you would think it would be mostly all the boys, you know what I mean? I'm like, but the girls are like, so that's showing what social media is doing for us. That's what's showing what our industry, where it's going. It's reaching kids at a younger level. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, when people like Jordan making posts out here, man, who wouldn't want to be a barber? You know what I'm saying? Every time I see Jordan's post, I'm like, I got barber more. I mean, barber is just a cool industry, and people see, you can kind of be the master of your own time. You make good money. You can kind of put your own. I think that's the thing about it, is like you can put so much of yourself in it, like your own swag, like your own interests. You can add. That's what makes barbering cool, I think, and that's why people want to do it.
So before we get into you, Carmina, how does that make you feel hearing all these little girls want to get into this industry?
That makes me so happy. I've known that I wanted to do hair since I was probably like 9 and maybe before. And I think that it's let me see, that passion that starts so early, it's something that carries through. And because I knew what I wanted to do so young, I really like watched it the whole time. And I had a focus of things that I wanted to accomplish, and I've gotten to accomplish all those things. And I want the same for everybody. And it just is, I mean, like for people of color, I think this is such a dope industry. And I say this on almost every podcast, that there's so many opportunities here in this particular industry that is not available in other industries. So that makes my heart like very happy.
I always thought the industry is one of the best career path that we can level up in, because it gives you opportunity to really excel and do it on your level, however you want to do it. You know, but before we get into that, talk about yourself. Where you are first off, and tell us how long you've been into this industry cutting hair, and what influenced you to get into the industry.
So I have been licensed for 23 years.
Wow,
Dang.
Yeah, 23
hold on,
years.
Craig.
So when you was born, you got licensed when you was born.
Yeah, when I was born,
Day
I was
one.
actually like negative months and I got my license. I graduated at 17 and I went straight to Cosmo School. In Cosmo School, I loved cutting men's hair. First of all, they didn't teach us.
Mhm.
And I'm always like push myself to learn stuff, and I want to know what other people don't know. So when the guys would come in, I'm like, nope, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And I got really good. And I love cutting men's hair because I feel like it's like sculpting, right? It's like doing a piece of art,
Right.
and it's so fast compared to doing like perms or cuts or colors or like anything like that. So I also talked about this the other day. I also learned what loyal clients men are. So it worked really well for me. Um, and I grew up with a lot of boys, so I'm very sarcastic and I talk a lot of shit. The guys
So,
can handle it, so it was a place that worked out for me really well.
so where are you
Um,
located?
in California, I'm
What
from the
part?
Bay Area,
Mm,
from San Jose, and now I live in the Central Valley. So
that's what's up. That's what's
yeah,
up. So now you're 17, you wanted to be a barber. And how long did it take you to hit that stride to where after when you got into school to where you was like, okay, I understand it. I get it.
I loved it. Honestly, I started on perm week and I wanted to quit school.
Most people do.
That's pretty
Yeah.
common.
Yeah, that first
I was
week is
like,
rough.
this is dumb. I'm out. And then when I learned cutting and I got my scissors in my hand, oh my God, I felt like for the first time I belonged somewhere. For the first time, like I was super confident in what I was doing. And when I originally was going to school, my dad was like, that's not like a lot of people's parents, especially back then, especially being Mexican, that's not just like a hard working like job that you're gonna stay in, that you're getting a 9 to 5 check. My dad was like, no, this is don't go, you can't go, I don't want you to go. So I was already against that, and
You was already swimming upstream. Your parents was like, oh,
yeah,
you're not gonna be successful. You're not gonna do good.
exactly,
That's not a good paying job. It's
not a
not.
real
It's
job
You think it's a cultural thing? You think it is
for
a cultural
sure.
thing?
I do think it is just because like traditionally, like even my mom worked in the fields, and then my dad, he's a machinist, just like real blue collar work that you could or like a medical assistant or something that was like way more traditional. But like I said, I went when I was 17, actually also got pregnant at 17.
How to make
So
some money.
I had to stop school. It's also cultural. No, I'm just kidding. Um, and then my ex-husband didn't want me to cut men's hair. He's like, no, you're gonna flirt with dudes, you're gonna talk to dudes, like, but that's just where I really felt like I fit. So I was in salons for a long time and then finally like got back into a shop and it was just so good for me.
one of the key things that we try to talk about, because it's called Barber College Success. So we try to kind of start at the root, which is important because I think so many people focus on when barber's already there, and
Yeah.
nobody's focusing on the premature stage, the stage where everybody is just trying to figure it out. Everybody's struggling, and then you go to school in the first week and you think you should be the best in the first week, and then here like 5, 10 years, you understand like, man, I was trying to push myself too hard instead of pacing myself. Do you remember those times in school
Yep.
when you was wasn't giving yourself enough credit and taking your time to learn?
Yes, I remember both. I remember when I thought I was super good, and then I remember when I wasn't good at all. Like I said, it was so natural for me to have a pair of scissors. So when I was cutting, I was like, oh yeah, I'm the shit, like that, that, that. And then it just wasn't coming out anymore. So I really had to check myself and step back. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for a reason. And I took my book out and started doing my cuts like step by step and building back up. Um, and really using those basics, which I still super use now.
So if you was starting school now and just not know nothing about barbering, what would you do different?
What would I do different? I don't even think I could pass that. I actually, as a side note, I'm in barber school right now, about to finish.
Oh, so you're
And
doing reciprocation, just switching over
so
to get
it's
your
a
barber
very,
license.
yeah, because I've been doing men's hair forever. I know how to use a razor. I've been on set doing men's hair just for a very long time. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to become a barber because I'm already so ingrained in the barber world. And let me tell you, from going to school in 99, 2000 and going to school now as a 41-year-old mom, like, it's very, especially a barber school, it's very, very different.
You charging school prices for your cuts? That's it. That's a serious
I
question.
And they're doing crazy
That's what I'm
cuts.
saying. Are you charging 50, 60, or are you charging the 10
eight
for the
dollars so
okay.
I'm not really in the behind the chair anymore. I actually had surgery. Let me see, you can see my scar.
Oh, word.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, so I can't be behind the chair all day,
Is that
but
like shoulder surgery? You had shoulder surgery?
I did,
Did
and
you
I
to
was
wear the
very,
box?
yep,
Oh,
for a
dang.
long time. For a long time. And it was the worst
So
pain recovery.
I'm curious, is that from cutting hair or just from
Like that.
I injured myself at another job. I always had two jobs because I raised my kids alone. So I always had a job and then I always had a regular job. And I picked up this heavy box and I was done for
Dang.
years.
See, I was gonna
Yeah.
say because my shoulder sometimes I feel it. I ain't gonna lie when I lift.
I feel like you're doing shoulder workout.
Yeah, it be
Yeah.
hurting sometimes. So I
Or like
thought it
your
was
neck.
like hazard of the job type surgery.
Yep.
So you're in barber school. Are you intending to going back into to cutting, or you say are you doing something else, or you want to teach?
I don't know if I don't know if I could go back to full time. I work with the cut, so
Right.
I work with a lot of just behind the scenes and business building stuff now, which is also amazing because again, from the time I went to school in 2000 to now, obviously the industry has super changed, and a thing that a lot of people realize is missing is the business side. So
By
it's really
far.
cool that I get to be like education wise helping out where I had big holes.
Yeah, I had a conversation with the guys from the cut one time, and I told them one thing they should think about doing. The guys, OB up there, and those guys, is try to get a app for schools, because I
Yeah.
think that would be something that I would love to bring to my school.
That would be dope, actually.
Have an app just for schools, and I know they said they're going to try and work on that. But the
We
app
have
is a good brand. Shout out to the cut.
I love schools still to this day. I had actually when I was in school, I had a really good experience. Everybody would be like, this sucks. And to me, I'm like, what? I loved it. I loved learning. I loved hair. Like I was so excited. But on the flip, I've gotten to teach barber theory for a long time. And I've also taught Cosmo. And the way I taught was exactly the same. I taught all the stuff that I was missing. So I feel like it made me very, very well-rounded.
I think that's important. And I tell people all the time, even people who are in the industry who are cutting hair, if you really want to get versed in the skill, go back and start teaching it. Because a lot of students, they kind of cut corners when they're learning. They want to get it so fast and not ingraining themselves into the study of the art of cosmetology or barbering. And you miss out on so many intricate things.
Yep.
But when you start teaching, it becomes so fun to you and you become a better barber then.
I feel like when I was going to the school for that little bit, um, it was hard for it's actually kind of a skill itself to even be able to explain yourself
Mhm.
to other students, especially from them like being like starting as a student to you now. It's kind of hard, like you trying to teach them like the advanced techniques, but you can't really do that. So it's like you gotta simple it down to where it's understandable, and it's kind of hard because it took me a little bit to like be able to explain myself because it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But it definitely I do agree with that though. I definitely feel like it helped me a lot more being able to explain myself, and also kind of lets you like refine what you already know what to do. I guess to be able to make it a little bit better.
So being an educator now, is it, are you more sympathetic to students or are you like, hey, you can do this. Stop playing around. Stop BSing.
I'm 1,000% both because I do have 4 kids and I can tell when somebody's super BSing and I'll be like, stop playing. I've seen you do better, that tough love. But I also understand that it's very technical and not everybody, first of all, has the same reading level even, right? And if they don't have a
Right.
good reading level, then they don't have a
Comprehension.
good comprehension, exactly, a good comprehension level. So using simplicity to explain things is definitely really important. And I think you don't understand before you're explaining it how many steps are involved in something
Right.
until you start like, okay, take out the scissors. Okay, hold the scissors like this. Make sure you're using the small side of your comb, like to control your sections. Or when you're verbalizing, you're like, it's so much.
I remember when I was teaching the class and I was teaching fading, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in with a 1.5, a one open. And they're like, well, what's a one? I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay. And then they're like, well, what's open? I'm like,
Open.
okay. So it's like you really just got to start with nothing. You got to realize they don't know anything. They don't know
Yep.
nothing.
So do you think YouTube does a disservice or is it you dropped your head?
So I think, first of all, one of the things I'm going to go back a little bit because one of the challenges with teaching now too is that these dudes can cut, right?
Right.
These girls could cut like fire, probably better than I'll ever be able to cut. But they don't know why or how behind what they're doing, right? So that's very difficult because they're already so good. So they think they're the shit. But you're like, wait a minute, we gotta like take it take it back a little bit. Plus,
We
we
gotta
want you
reel you back in.
yeah, plus we want you to pass state board, right?
Right.
um so YouTube, I think it's I've always thought this, that it's a little bit disheartening because I feel like a video could take somebody 10 hours
Yes.
and then they edit it to like 2 minutes or whatever it is, you know? So people think like, oh my God, I'm not doing this fire ass cut. Like in 5 minutes, I suck. Like, so I just don't want people to like gauge themselves against that.
And that's important because we right now we're in over like 66 countries around the world. And a lot of the questions we get from students are like, I've been cutting hair and this guy next to me, he's cutting really good and I don't think I'm good. And then he gets most of the haircuts in the class, in the school. And I'm like, don't put no pressure on yourself. It's gonna come. The key for you now is just immerse yourself into that textbook.
Yep.
You don't know
And
how
take the cuts.
yes.
Like they don't want to take the cuts. Like take the damn cuts. How are you supposed to learn if you don't take the cuts? I did a whole like rant on Insta. I was like, school is for you to F up. Like take the cuts, F up, F up, F up. That's why you're there. That's why people are coming in. You have a demographic that's their price point for haircuts. You know what I'm saying? So they're available for you to take as clients. Like
Take advantage of that.
the cuts.
Then you have the students who like almost getting ready to graduate and they feel like, oh, I need to take no more cuts. I'm good. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm the man
Yeah.
now.
I'm
Or
like,
woman.
I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Or then towards the end, they stop coming. I'm like, you need the reps. You need the reps. You need the reps because it takes, from my analogy, just from watching students over the years and over time, I think from the time someone comes into school, they graduate, by the time they hit their peak, it takes about 2.5 to 3 years, maybe a little bit more before you hit your peak. And I try to explain that to students all the time, but a lot of them are like, I'm not good in a month. I'm not good in 2 months. And they put
Yeah.
so much pressure on themselves and don't understand. You need to see clients. You can't shortcut the process. You need to
Yes.
see different texture, different head shapes. And you're
Yep.
not going to see all of those in a
A month.
month
Yeah.
or 2 months or 6 months. What do you think, am I?
I mean, I still run the textures that I'm not ready for
Yeah.
sometimes, even to this day. I mean, I've been in it about 5 years now, and I've taught, and I'm blessed to cut every type of ethnicity that you can. I mean, as far as I've come across, but I still run the textures where like it takes me 2 or 3 cuts just to get through it. So there's at no point have I felt like I've ever hit like there's never a time that you can't learn. And it's frustrating when you see students, it's almost like children, like, you got just like a child. Like I remember when you was using diapers, now you telling me you're gonna take the car. Now you take, it's like same thing with students. It's like I remember when you were scared to even cut hair. Now you telling me you don't want haircuts? Like that makes no sense to me. It don't make any sense to me.
I mean, that's a great point that you just made. There's never a point where you can't learn.
Never.
You're always gonna keep learning until you stop cutting hair.
There's never a point where you can't learn. And for us who are experienced, Carmina, yourself, Jordan, and I, and we keep reiterating this to students, like, hey, this is the process. This is the process. And some of them still fight it, and it just sometimes, not just sometimes, but it just delays your process.
It
It
does.
delays your process of being good
And it's your
because
own mind.
you're beating yourself up for something that if you just take your time and listen to someone with experience who've done it before you, majority of the time they're gonna put you in the right direction.
Yep.
So you work with a cut and you talk about building businesses. Is there any common questions or maybe any common mistakes that you see young business owners or barbershop owners doing?
I think no matter what app you're using, not paying attention to like what you're making or keeping track of it somehow. And again, I think a lot of people are in the barbering industry because they're probably not school people, right?
Mhm.
And everybody doesn't know what spreadsheet to use or what program to use. So I feel like apps make that really, really simple. And I think it's really important. Again, just whatever app you're using or whatever method you're using to keep track of your money.
Word.
I mean, I
Just-
think it's important because some of the worst advice most people was given to like people coming out of this industry like several years ago was like, don't track your income. Don't track your income. I'm like, that's so stupid because you can't grow.
Hide your cash.
Yeah, that's one thing where I messed up because last year I didn't really do the taxes the way I was supposed to. I'm going to admit that.
You don't find out
But
till you try to go buy a car or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Let me just do this the right way. So I mean, it's just a learning experience.
Jordan
I mean,
made
it's just,
$6,000 last year.
now trying to take out a business loan. They was like, what? No. I was like, hey.
You made $25 a week.
Yeah.
How'd that work?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, but it is important, like you said, no matter what app you're using, it's important to
Yeah.
track your income
Yep.
because one of the key things people do, because every barber hits that time when the money starts coming in, they feel comfortable, and now they want to make a business transaction,
Yes.
or you want to buy a car,
They're
or you
all
want to buy,
like, what money?
yeah, or you want to buy a
Yeah.
house. You know, because we're in a cash cow business where we have money in our hands every day. So we should be thinking about not today, but tomorrow. How do we invest this money? How do we begin to make this money work for us?
1,000%. And I think because we have a big wave of young people in our industry right now. And when you give young people hella cash, what are they going to do? You know what I'm saying? And that's how it screws them. And the same thing for celebrities. Like a lot of celebrities have gone bankrupt because
Right.
of the exact same thing. They're young, got hella money, and then ran amok, So I feel like we're lucky enough now to have social media and not lucky to have social media. We have so much information and then so much of a lack of information.
Financial literacy is a must. I mean, again, so shout out to the Cut app because what they doing with these apps, they're holding people, shout out, they're holding people accountable, letting them put their feet to the fire to progress in the right way.
And we're also
Because
trying to push that it's not a hustle, right? Like it's actually a business. It's
Yeah.
not a hustle, it's a business. And that's I think something, especially for the OGs who haven't tracked their stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or who still have that mindset is one of the things that I really like about working for the apps. Because when I bring them on, I'm like, oh, like, look, you could do this stuff. You know what I mean? And that makes me so happy because that's changing that mindset in a good way too. And that's just so important. Like to not only, I don't think it's competing, but just to stay like with the times, which is not always easy to change.
oh, for sure, change is uncomfortable sometimes and it's hard, but that's the only way you're going to grow.
1,000.
Change it is uncomfortable, but if you want to grow, you have to go through that process. You know what I mean? And I think at the core right now, just working with students and letting them know it's important. These things are essential to your growth.
I've started getting addicted to uncomfortable. Like I hate being comfortable because like I feel like I'm waiting for something to happen. I'd rather go make something happen
Yeah.
instead of waiting for something to happen. And and for the last few years, I can't. When I find myself sitting around, I'm like, man, let's make this harder. Like, how can we upgrade? How can we make this more difficult?
Right.
I love it.
But
Can I circle back a little bit to something that we were talking about? And that was about like taking clients and making sure that, you keep working even though you've been in school. But I think it's not just about learning hair types, textures, and all that stuff. It's about actually learning to work with people.
Yes.
Like there's amazing people. There's people that are assholes. You know what I mean? There's people that are in good moods all the time or whatever. There's business people. And it's so important to know how to work with like all those type of people. First of all, so you know what works for you and what doesn't, but just to build those skills because that doesn't come normal for a lot of people.
those soft skills.
Yes.
Soft skills are so valuable. We've talked about that so many times. And one of the key things, one of the best way in my school that we figured out to help students acquire soft skills or pick up soft skills is we have this guy. He has Down syndrome, and just his aura, just his attitude. He's our greeter at the school, and I think he's one of the best persons to help the students at the school learn soft skills because he's always smiling. He's always greeting you with both hands, saying hello, and you can't raise your voice to him. You have to drop your voice to for him to understand you, for you to understand him. And I think that's one of the best things we've done in our school to
I
help
love that.
students acquire the soft skills. Because soft skills sometimes is just being tentative. Soft skills is just dropping your voice and being understanding and smiling.
Yep.
You can't help but go up to Matthew and not greet him with a smile and understand what he's saying.
Yep.
And he goes around the school and greets everyone. And if you're in a
Aw.
bad mood, he
Give me
will
the
come he doesn't even know if you're in a bad mood,
yeah.
but he will change your narrative instantly. And that's one of the best ways that I have figured out to help in my school is having someone come in with like on that level to teach soft skills.
Yeah. And that's again, not everybody's taught that. Like some people grew up in very aggressive households or very like abusive households, and they literally just don't know how to smile at people or why or the value or benefit of it. And it seems so simple, and it's not if you're not taught that.
Right. But that's important in our not just our industry, but in every industry.
Yeah.
Customer service is valuable. That's how you're gonna make your money. If you're terrible at it, people are not gonna come back. People remember that. People remember how you treat them, how you talk to them.
And it's a
I would
it's
tell my students, oh, go ahead.
no after you.
No, I would tell my students all the time, like, why would people want to come and give you money? Like the way you are right now, I would not want to give you my money. I would try to make them think like all the time like that, you know? So when they go out, that would trigger in their minds. But it's 1,000% true too, because like, why would somebody want to come and spend their valuable time with you, their hard-earned money with you, or bring their family to you, you know, if you're some type of way?
Especially the way haircut prices are going up.
Yes. Like you need something to accompany that and to
Mhm.
substantiate those prices.
Yes.
And it's something that you can learn, you can get better at. I think if you're not, and it took me some time. I mean, I've always been kind of able to speak to people, but when you first start cutting hair, you're just worried about the haircut. So
Yeah.
like you can't focus on speaking and cutting at the same time. That was a hard thing for me to learn. And I mean, if you're not a great talker, you can just practice on being a good listener. And so, you know, while you're doing that. So it's things you can learn. I had to speak to a young kid the other day. He was 18, getting ready to be a barber. And he's like, man, I'm scared of that part. And I'm like, you just got to practice. Just start conversations with people. Just, you know, just start talking to people. You know, it's easy to learn. You just got to be willing to do it. Put yourself out there.
Make yourself uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And like we've talked about it said previously, I think most barbers are introverts. You started into the industry being an introvert, but because of our industry, you're kind of because your clients don't know you're an introvert, and your clients sometimes they're gonna pepper you with questions, or just want to get to know who they spending money with, or just want to get to know that hey, are you gonna be consistent? Are you respectful? Are you gonna be there when I need you, when I call you? And all those things takes time to build. And when people feel comfortable with you in that manner, when they can talk to you and know that you're consistent, you're predictable, you're someone that they can count on, then they don't mind spending money with you. Then they don't mind patronizing your business and saying, you know what, here's a tip, here's something for Christmas, here's something for your birthday, because you've been consistent and you had a great attitude while doing it.
Would you classify yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm both. So I'm very like life of the party. But when I'm at home, I will literally sit like in a dark corner with the lights off. My kids will be like, you know, come home, like, why is it dark in here?
With your coffee mug.
So I definitely need time to come off. Like if I go a show, you know, like at let's say the Las Vegas show, I was interviewing and going hard like the whole time. They wanted me to go out after. I just like couldn't physically make myself do it. I was like, I need to go and like wash everybody off, you know? Like
Yeah. So what's the life like going from the different shows to show? Is it exhausting or do you enjoy? I'm sure you enjoy doing it, but what's pros and cons?
I think it's really fun to see because I've been around so much like new stuff. I get really excited like when I
Yes.
see something new, right? That I haven't seen for
Likewise.
like Wes Tech, right? I don't know if you've met the boys from Wes Tech. I love them. But they have like a guard that you it basically goes through like three different
Yes.
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
Is that the
And
blur guard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes like
no,
the three or
it's
four.
like the blur.
It goes to like the four guard, right? From
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's an attachment. You screw it on your clippers, and then you can go through four different adjustments.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's dope. And I
Technology.
mean, that's so simple. And you know what I mean? Like, so stuff like that really excites me. There was something else that I seen the other day and it's not coming to me, but I was like, oh shit, that's amazing. Like, I've never seen that, you know? The cons, are traveling and money.
Yeah.
For sure. There's so many shows. Like I'm gonna go to the MLB show in Chicago. I'm really excited about it. But there's another show in Texas, like I think the week before, and I'm like, shit, dude, like I really want to go to both shows.
You got to try and figure which one is going to be.
Yes.
But it would be nice just to go there. Like I think we need like a reporter, like a barber reporter that just goes like a sportscaster. You know, we need a barber reporter.
They got the View TV, those guys.
I mean, but just just something that like every night we can come up to and just look at. We have that 30-minute section of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Like a
What's
ticker.
new in the barber world?
You should be the Stephen A. You the barber Stephen A.
No, no, we don't
Oh,
need
and
one of
Ray
those.
Majors was
Yeah.
rocking Gucci
Yeah.
shirt.
Broadcasting you and your favorite. What's your favorite spot?
Madagascar.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Out there in Madagascar doing a haircut. Yeah, that'd be dope. We have our own little barber TV. Well, Buzz Time in New York, my man Ian, he got a little broadcasting. And I think it's gonna,
Take off.
yeah.
You should do it, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a combination of all of us because we're gonna need reporters from coast to coast.
You
I'll be
need
the
a
sound
for
guy.
every state.
I had the boom mic like this.
But our industry is so loved and it's taken off in so many places. And one of the things that I think it's going to be an issue here. There are a lot of celebrity so-called barbers who don't show love to other barbers. You see them sometimes; they don't want to speak to they don't want to speak to nobody. You up there, you're like, oh man, I'm like, dude, you was a barber just like everybody else. Show love, talk to, bring someone up behind you who aspire to be in that position. Like
fame got to him.
Which on the flip, the celebrity barbers that talk to the students and stuff, oh my God, they get so happy. You know what I'm saying? Like shout them out. And
yeah.
I love. I share so much. Like I try to people all day are sending me stuff to share for them because they know I will give them love. It's so funny.
That's important.
Yeah.
But there's some dudes who like they're like like,
or what?
Yeah, what you getting
Yeah.
at? You know what I'm saying? It's and that's what's giving our industry kind of like a tough, you know what I mean, a tough judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the industry it should be all love. It's a fraternity. Once you're a barber and you work hard, you got your license, you're in this fraternity, it should be just all love across the board.
That also creates unreal expectations for students. It seems like a lot of people, like you'll see barbers show where they're at and then they'll show where they started, but they never show that like transition period. I feel like they'll show you that like been in school haircut, but they don't show you that been in the shop for like 3 months or a year haircut. That stuff usually ends up getting deleted because you're somewhere in between like the best you can be versus the worst that you were. And people just end up deleting all that, you know, say I've deleted a few pictures or something,
but I don't think nobody should delete no pictures. I mean, that's part of your journey.
I think I still have every single picture from school to now.
I'm gonna go share it on my story.
I still got on my Instagram, all my haircuts from school to the middle to now.
It's really a story when people see how hard it was, the whole journey, not part of the journey, not when I mean, I've heard some students say, I don't want nobody to see my bad haircuts. So how do they know you just came out the womb?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Nobody starts out running, man. I mean, unless you're just a freak.
You just came out the womb just like
freaking nation.
At 1 month, 1 day old, came out the womb and you're on your feet walking, running. Where's that at?
So do you still take clients? Do you still cut it all? Do you cut any?
Yeah, I do. It's mostly like if I go on set, I do like a lot of corporate work. So I'll do work for like if there's big speaking engagements or if corporate companies are having like photo shoots or if they're doing in-house videos and stuff like that. So it's really cool because there's different ways that you can do hair or be a barber, and it's not always behind the chair. And I'm really fortunate that I got to do that. And it's really different. So
talk about the different ways in your experience and that you know of besides being behind the chair. Because I talk about that to the students a lot of times, but they need to hear it from other people as well.
So I will tell you 1,000% weddings, like money. I had the opportunity to become to specialize in Indian bridal for hair and makeup. And then with that, you know, I built up a network, and I also do men's grooming for Indian weddings. And first of all, their weddings are hella days, right? Like 3 to 7 days. And hella events. Um, and just because for weddings, period, you're traveling, because most are going to be like at different venues, hotels, and things like that. Um, and they're going to be for long periods of time. You can do like bachelor parties. So that's cool ways that you can make a lot of money in a day and not have to be behind the chair. And you can make as much in a day as you could like in a few days of being behind the chair. And it's way less exhausting. And it's important because being behind the chairs hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like your shoulder, your back, your
Yes.
feet, like
But that's the importance of being versatile when you're in school. There should
yeah,
be no dead time. Learn as much as you can because a
yes,
lot of students just focus on their strengths, that
yes,
fade. You're
yes.
just going to do fade for the whole month or the whole year you're in school. There's more to that. So I know at times when we initially started, it's like, man, doing the perms, but those perms are some things that some of those guys at the weddings might want.
Yeah, so I have a homie who is he's a barber in San Francisco and he's an ambassador for Curl Cult, which is so dope because he's an educator for perms and he's a barber, which
Right.
is another cool kind of newer facet in the industry. So
Mhm.
that's just so amazing.
But that's the importance of that. It's like, hey, it's okay to be versatile.
Yes.
And so, because some of the best barbers that I know of started in cosmetology school.
Yep.
They didn't go to barber school,
Yeah.
but they became barbers afterwards.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's dope.
Just
And
for a razor. You know what I'm saying? Like Cosmo has so much encapsulated in the license, and then you got to go back for 500 hours for the razor. Like
right, it's crazy, right? Yeah.
Like Titan. You ever heard of Titan Barber?
Yeah.
Titan Barber's tough.
oh, dude,
Colorado.
Dude is amazing.
fire.
He's in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a cosmetologist and then he transferred to
Yep.
Barber.
He's a
But
real nice guy
he
too.
knows, he
If you ever
knows how to
get
do
talk to him.
absolutely everything and anything.
And,
Like it's crazy. Dude's haircuts are
So fun
wild.
to watch.
and that's the point. You know what I mean? You focusing so much on the fade. The fade is gonna come.
Yeah.
I think the fade is probably the easiest thing to come, but you get enamored with it because that's all we see on YouTube
Yeah.
or Instagram, just that nice fade. After a while, what about the top? What about, so what about the extra stuff? What about the shares? What about the perm? What about the color? What about the whole nine, the shebang? You know what I mean? You want to be able to do, because the more you learn, the more you earn, hands down.
Yeah. And then on the flip side too, I feel like all that fluff sometimes is too much. And the most basic thing you're gonna make money on is like an old school gentleman just cut.
Two on the sides,
Oh,
just enough to push over.
yeah, and
Just a
I
money
tried
maker.
to. I was my God, I had after COVID, I like lost my memory so bad. So that's why like it's sometimes it's so frustrating. But I was an assistant director at a barber college and I was on the floor. And to me, like I went to school at a Cosmo school that was there in the 50s and it was like very structured. And it was like you're working all day or you're working on a doll like all day. And these dudes are just like milling around. I'm like, no, you guys need to learn something. So I had an instructor who was really like jaded, which broke my heart. But everyone was into like these hard dope fades, right? And I was like, you guys need to learn how to do like a pomp, right?
Right.
So we're gonna watch it and then I'm gonna show you how to do it. So I put like a Ruzel video on
Word.
so they can learn how to do a pomp. And they were just like not into it. And even the instructor was like, you don't need to know how to do that. And I'm like,
What?
yeah. And I was like, if you only know how to cut hair one way, dude, you don't know how to cut hair. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know how to make money.
Yeah. And it broke my heart. And I know he was jaded and he was like, telling the students like, oh, you can't charge that much. And I'm like, we need to fire this guy immediately.
They
What? I mean, you should encourage creativity.
Yeah, he's setting boundaries,
You
setting
should-
boundaries
you
for
should
the
create
students.
doing as many different, just being as, because how do the question for him, how do you set yourself apart then?
How do you set yourself apart is
that was a question for him, the jaded instructor.
True. Yeah, 1,000%.
Because you want everybody to be the same.
Exactly.
How are you going to set yourself apart?
It sounded like he had some insecurities about doing those type of haircuts anyways himself.
Yeah.
So I think he had a lot of strengths because he was actually an educator, like a teacher, and they thought that would translate. And I feel like it just didn't. But yeah, you do. That's such an important thing is to set yourself apart because again, people are coming to spend money on you and like, why would they spend their money on you? And why wouldn't they spend it like across the street or whatever?
Right. I mean, after a while, I mean, you got to be able to do a fade. Now you got to be able to do a good haircut. But after a while, your fade is gonna look just as good as mine. Mine's gonna look just as good as yours.
Not even
Once,
that. What if your clippers break? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if your edger breaks? Like,
what if your guard falls? What if something? Yeah,
yeah.
your guard somebody steals your guard off your station.
Ah. Like, you need to know how to fix it. You need to know how
To
to
ad lib.
keep it moving. You know, what are you going to do? Send them out? No, you're going to finish your cut. And if you really don't, you're not very well rounded and you're not willing to learn like some creative techniques, you know, you're going to be stuck in that situation. And if you're ever working on set, you'll be effed. I don't want to say like,
Well, you're not gonna work on set first off if you're not creative.
exactly.
If
Well,
you just do,
if you lose something on set, like there's no way to go get it. There's no way to borrow it from another barber. You know what I'm saying? Like you're screwed. So you really need to
you
be
gotta make
like
it happen.
skills.
You got
Yeah.
you gotta have that tool chest and
Yes.
be able to go in that tool chest, dig in there, pull
This is
something
your
out
chest.
to make something happen.
When you say on set, what do you mean when you say on set? I know, I
So
mean, it's like a industry term, but I like, what do you mean when you say on
for
set?
sure. So if you're filming, you know, if you're doing a commercial, if you're working on a campaign, you know, and you are anything having to do with being filmed and putting out any type of video content or actual commercials.
I mean, it's so much now because every other commercial you see, there's a barber scene.
Yep.
And that shows the love that we have in this industry.
I get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, that's a barber. Like, oh, that's a dope shop over there. I'd be like, oh, I bet that dude's a barber.
I mean, in almost everything on TV, every commercial, there's a barber
Yeah.
scene. Every scene. You can't go without watching an hour worth of television without commercials come on, and there's not a barber scene or some type of something in our industry field.
Before I couldn't even before like I would say barber has really become mainstream like in the last 8 years,
Yeah.
which is so I was so excited because I was like, finally, because I love cutting men's hair. And like Cosmos didn't go and watch barber education. Cosmos, I mean, women just period couldn't go into shops. Like I had short hair, like pink, like Halle Berry forever. And I couldn't go and get an actual men's haircut, which would have looked way better because women were so scared to cut my hair because I couldn't go into a shop. You know what I mean? Like, so
Why couldn't you? Why you feel that why
because you just back then I had that cut from the time
that
I was
stigma?
11 till I was maybe like 28 or something. So this was like years ago and like 30 years ago. And that just wasn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you just didn't go into barbershops. Like that would have been weird and
The stigma.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of my friends, she's like a globetrotter. She does this vlog and talks about traveling. And I think she was in Amsterdam last week, and she showed on one of her videos that she went and got her hair done at a barbershop. And she had all long flowing locks, and the dude came up in there, he diced it up and hooked her up. And she emphasized, got my hair done at a barbershop.
Yeah.
So that was dope, seeing that he was versatile enough like that in Amsterdam to do. And it was an African American woman, and she had long hair to her shoulders, and she was just so happy. I'm like, that's what's up.
Yes.
That's
Which
big.
again, you wouldn't have seen that even 5 years ago, you
Yep.
know?
Because I mean, and it goes both ways too.
Yeah.
Where a lot of women with long hair, like, I'm not going to a barbershop, they're gonna jack me up.
Ever.
But now you got to be able to be versatile with somebody can just come sit in your chair and you could just do whatever.
What do you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you feel like one of the most noticeable changes you've seen in the barber industry in the last few years? Like maybe even happening right now.
Put
Put you on the spot.
women. No, of course, women being not just in the industry, but spotlighted and being celebrated.
That's big.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think just the education, like I wanted to see barber education forever. And it just was there even barber education before 8 years ago?
I think there was because they had like shows, hair shows back then, but it wasn't as prevalent because there are a lot of barbers who have been cutting it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years who has never even been to a hair show.
Yeah.
Or even been to a continuing education course and don't understand the importance of going to those things. You know, and they just stuck in the same rat race, that same mold, and can't figure out why they can't grow because you
That's
haven't been.
I love that you said that because somebody put this on Facebook the other day and it was like, why do people leave their, I think it was their hairstylist, but I'm assuming it's for barbers too. But one of the reasons that people leave is because their barber doesn't change it up or the hairstylist doesn't change it up. They're always exactly the same. They never recommend anything. So then
Nothing.
clients leave to go where they're going to get something new.
There's some barbers who don't even sell product, who don't even know how to sell product, how to incorporate product into your craft, how to teach people how to style or take care of their hair. That's the important part of being a barber.
Yes.
How to style the hair, how to take care of your hair. And the thought process is if I teach them how to do it, they won't come back. They're going to come back.
There's literally nowhere else to learn. Like, you should know, like, you're the hair doctor. You know what I'm saying? You know everything. You should know everything about hair to be able to give them knowledge. Because for seriously, like, where else are you going to go to learn about hair?
Right.
It's overwhelming.
And also there's a ton of people who like, I spoke to a barber the other day and he said he's burnt out. And one of the reasons I think he's burnt out is some of the same things we're talking about. He's a really great barber. I'm not even gonna call his name. He's a really great barber, but he keeps thinking about wanting to change and get out of the industry. And one of the reasons I think is he's just been in this monotony. And sometimes cutting hair can become like an assembly line where you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And that gets boring. You got to switch it up.
And have people around you that are also
Positive.
interested in doing, not very positive. That's so important. But also want to grow. If you're in the same with all the same people who are like this, you're always going to stay like this, you know?
Stagnant.
Yeah.
And that's one of the importance of why we started the podcast. Just kind of give students around the world, around the country, a sense of what barbering is, what this industry is, where you can take it, where you can go. And that's why I try to shout out and bring as many an eclectic of different people from around the world to show that, hey, we all start out the same place and we all have some of the same issues. We all have some of the same anxiety that we had as far as cutting hair. But if you trust the process and you put into it something, a lot of great things, you're gonna get some great things out of it.
Just some effort. Like, just try, you've already signed up, right? It's not cheap. You're already dedicating your time, right? You're already having time away from your family. You might as well make the most of it. You're already going to be there. So why not absorb and take in everything you can? That's your opportunity again to mess up, but it's also your opportunity just to learn. And you never know who the students in your class are going to end up being. Like, they might be a 360 GZ or something.
Right.
On, I'm the kind of person who wants to put everybody on. Like, I'm always connecting people and that's important to me, but
build that
also,
relationship. Relationship matters.
Like with the students, I'm like, you have to show me that you're worth recommending to somebody, because you don't know who I know. You know what I mean?
For
like,
sure. And that's a good point. A lot of students miss their opportunity in school because they make the experience so terrible. Yes. And that they don't build relationships. They go there and they just are really angry for some reason. You don't know what. Yeah. Sometimes, and you got to look at yourself when you're that angry, because that should be a good, fun time in your life. You're going to look back and see like, man, I had some good times. I made some good friends. I made some good connections. Those things are important.
I still have a friend from to this day that I made in beauty school.
I want everybody to answer this question. I was thinking about it for the past couple of days, even months. And I think a lot of barbers out there are thinking the same way. Do your number of followers at every time dictate how much money you're gonna make?
To say that one more time?
The number of followers that you have dictate how much money you're gonna make.
Sometimes.
I feel like it does. I feel like it does. I feel like for its visual aspect, somebody that's hasn't been to you and somebody refers you to the Instagram, they might look at your followers and be like, dang, this dude actually might be something good, But I wouldn't say it really matters, but
to an extent.
But
a lot of barbers have that misconception. That's the only way they can make money. What do you think, Carmina?
First of all, no. I think historically what the numbers are, I like 1% of followers are actually booking and paying clients, which is extremely low. I think if your goal is to get paid from content, that's different. If
Right.
your goal is to get actual paying clients, that's another thing.
Yeah. And I heard this barber say that a while back, and I'm like, that makes sense because a lot of barbers are just trying to build up their followers, but everybody's gonna get paid from that.
Nope. It's gonna be one thing, people will be tagging different places. I do that. Like I'll post something and then I'll put New York. Like I don't want clients from New York. You know what I'm saying? Like I want local clients who are gonna book me every day. But I feel like if you're putting so much effort into making dope content, that's taking away from you being behind the chair and working on actual clients. That's why I'm saying like you kind of have to pick which one is important to you. And if you're fully booked behind the chair, you're probably not going to have a ton of content because you're actually working, you know? So this is what I'm really torn on. I don't think that followers translate into money.
I'm kind of split down the middle with that too, but I just don't want barbers out there to get discouraged because they don't have someone following them.
Yeah, no.
Because a lot of barbers get discouraged if they make something, some type of content, and they get 2 or 3 likes.
Yeah.
When I first started, I would do like I would tag clipper companies, tag
Yeah.
products. And I was like, bump that. So I quit. I don't tag nothing except the person I take the picture of. I don't put no hashtags on there. I'm like, this, I make the content for me because I like making good content. You know what I'm saying? And
It has to be organic.
Yeah.
If people like it and somebody wants it, even like someone, a brand, they will specifically see what they want and they'll grab it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of split down the middle. It's just don't get discouraged because you don't get the like 10 likes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged because it's not coming so fast like you want it.
Yes.
It has to come from the heart and the soul. And when you believe in yourself and you mold yourself into that barber you're gonna be, people will see it.
I feel like once you're in the industry and cutting hair for a couple of years, I feel like it kind of that's a natural thing that you end up becoming to realize. Yeah, because at first when I was coming out of school, I was just doing like Emma, like how Emma was saying, I was trying my best to figure out what to do to make me blow up and what to make people see my haircuts. And after a while, it's like it gets tiring because you tire yourself out even just thinking of content. Like it's just like
Well, you
You
could,
would.
I mean, if that's what you want for, if you're a barber and you're listening, if that's what you want, if
Yeah.
you want that, you could do that. You just have to be consistent with your posts.
yeah,
It's just like barbering. Like the more you do it, the better you get at it. You stay consistent and just continue. You'll grow, and you'll know what people want. If that's what you want out of it. Now, not everybody wants that. And some people think they want it and then they get it and it's
and
not
then
what
it's
they
like
think it
no,
is. No, it's not what they think it is.
But to grow is just to grow sometimes it's just simple. Show up early, leave late, have good customer service, have soft skills, treat people well, and
be willing to grow.
be willing to grow,
Yeah.
and willing to take advice, go to hair shows, connect with people, build relationships. Those things are underrated. It's those things are better than likes. You
I
grow
think
organically.
because I have been doing it for so long that I was really successful without before social media was like even invented, that it's just like,
I
you
know
know,
you had MySpace. Don't even do that.
I did, but I already had kids too. um,
Bebo.
but so I was really successful behind the chair without having any of that. So to me, it's just like an extra fun thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? To me, like I would go everywhere and take cards. Like that's the old school regular ass way that you would do stuff, you know. Hey, I'm Carmina, like I cut hair. Hey, I'm Carmina. Like I remember one time I went to this a shoe store and I was like, hey, I'm Carmina, what's up? Like I cut men's hair. And he's like, do you cut Chinese hair? And I was like, I cut hair, you know.
That's what's up.
He's like, but do you cut Chinese hair? I was like, I
I
cut
could
hair.
hear with that confidence.
Yeah, and I could. He did have really thick straight hair. I saw what he was talking about, but
Hey,
like,
that junk's scary, especially if you ain't never done it before. Oh my gosh.
She's like, what am I doing?
it's like cutting an afro because it's like so straight. You know what I'm saying? You're like literally shaping it with the
Mhm.
clippers. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I know how to cut hair.
I had a
But
dude come in the shop with his friend. He's a college student, and he's a brother with an afro. And he had an appointment booked with me, and he's like, "Can you cut my hair?" I was like, "What? What do you mean?" He's like, my hair. I mean, like, you mean black hair? I'm like, nah, I can't do that. He's like, really? I was like, nah, I'm just kidding.
Yep, dope.
Dudes would be shook because I could hella fade like black hair, but it's just because I was willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, when everybody would come to school, I'd be like, "Yep, I could do that." Even if I couldn't do it, I'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, I've done that
But
before."
Yeah.
Like,
but the point is, you're in school, and that's when you should try it. You know, even if you mess
yes,
up, that's when you got to refine it and learn and get better.
yep,
Make it to you,
Because
make it.
then you can ask questions while you're there, like instead of
Yeah.
like having to do it. Like when we used to have a problem with this, like people wouldn't cut like people's hair at the school. They would cut the people's hair at their house.
Yep.
And then they'll be like, man, I don't want to bring them to the school because the school, I'm not getting paid my money. So because the school is getting paid the money, I'm not being paid my
Yeah.
money. But I mean, if I feel at the end of the day, if you really take time and want to learn, and
Yeah.
some people will give you a tip. Most time when I was in school, I averaged like 25 a haircut, and it's cool haircuts were $8. So I
Yep.
mean, you still gonna make some money as long as you just willing to show them that you want to learn.
I mean, well,
If I messed up, I wouldn't even care. I'll be like, "Oh, I'm in school. Sorry."
That's cold.
Dang.
The instructor over sweating.
No, I messed up one person really bad, I remember, but I was like willing to ask the instructors and stuff too. I went to a really good school and I feel like we had instructors available, which is also like a very important point because that's not the case now so much. I feel there's like so much turnover that it's really hard for the students to get like a single how can I say idea of how to cut because there's a new person and then there's a new person and a new person, you know.
yeah, it's tough to get instructors. I mean, one of the key things for me in my school, I just try to invest from within, from students who've been there, ask them to come back and do a demonstration, and try to make them come back and practice teaching. Because one day they might want to be platform, do something on another level at Barber. So if you can come back and give back what you've learned and kind of give back some sort of just remnants of confidence to a student who've been down, I think that's a positive. You can grow from within that way.
Yeah, and it's so exciting for the other students to see, like, oh my God, dude, they're teaching. Like, that's so cool.
Yep. That's amazing. That's amazing. Carmina, I wish we could keep going. We've been on here for like an hour already, but again, just I appreciate you. Thank you. And this was major. What you like about this podcast, John? What'd you pick up from it?
I feel like it's very influential, you know, a lot of information. Obviously got somebody here that's been doing it for a very long time. So it's gonna be nice for the students to listen and see where somebody that's not from here came from. And what's your Instagram name again?
Mina B, CMINAB, and anybody could hit me up at any time.
What you think, Am I?
That was dope. I always enjoy speaking to very experienced people and hearing interesting perspectives. And I really enjoy having you on here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because it just gives a perspective of women around the world, little girls, inspiration, to understand that hey, barbering it's not just for men. You can go in there and be a boss and make it too. I mean, it's important to show the generation behind us. It's a broad and wide open field, and you don't have to be. So many people tell their stories of how their parents kind of shot them down when they say they want to be a barber, want to be a cosmetologist, want to go in this industry. Remember, it's your journey. It's your life to live, and you have to take care of it, and you have to manifest it if you want it. So what'd you think of today's podcast, Carmina?
I had so much fun. I've never interviewed with so many people. I get so excited. So sorry for interrupting. I love sharing. I love students. I had such a good time and I love inspiring students too. So I hope that we could do it again and send me any.
Definitely. So and before you get off, what would you say to a student starting off or someone in school who's going through that struggle to be like, man, I'm not going to get it. I'm not making it. What are some inspirational, inspiring words that you can say to barber students or cosmetology students, whatever?
Read the book. Like if you just read the book, literally start from chapter 1, you're going to know more than everybody else. And you're going to be so highly informed. You have time anyways, and you're there to learn. So start from the bottom and really build up those skills.
Yes, ma'am. And where are you again? Give a shout out to the Cut, the Bay Area. Where are you?
California.
San Jose. You said the Bay Area, right?
I'm from the Bay Area. I live in the Central Valley. I live smack in the middle of California.
The Kings or the Warriors?
I don't watch basketball. I'm a big Raider fan. And
Las Vegas
fan.
Las Vegas Raiders.
And my heart is broken. So
The Raiders.
That's what's up. But again, spreading love the Crown Cuts way is one way and the only way to make it happen. Shout out to Carmina, the cut, my guy, and my Joy. We back at it again, making moves with the Barber College success. Spreading love, making it happen. And shout out to FeedSpot for ranking us in the top 25 podcasts in the world. Giving love to the students, to the new barbers coming in. It's important to inspire you guys, let you guys know, hey, don't shortcut the process. It's going to come. Take your time. Like Carmina said, get into that book. Get into that book and boss it out and learn as much as you can learn, because the more you learn, the more you earn. There should be no dead time in school. If there's something, if you're not busy, get into the book, roll a perm, do something, get some information, enhance your skill, get better day by day, get better every day, because it's important. Again, Barber College Success brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy, JC, and Crown Cuts Academy, Bristol, Virginia, making it happen. Peace, Carmina. We're gonna get up, we're gonna talk again. I'm gonna get you back on the podcast and we're gonna make it happen. Thank you, miss. Appreciate you.
Thank
Shout
you.
out to the cut again. Boom. Carmina, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on this.
I'm all